old guy dream bike day we have right now. KTM 350 SXF, the new generation KTM. We got Donnie's, we got mine. These things are incredible. Okay, so first of all, right away you notice one of these looks way better than the other one. I kind of prefer the red and black and not the orange. Donnie's a orange guy. He thinks his is 28% better. I think mine's 33% better than this one. They're pretty dang cool bikes. So they're really cool bikes. And so one of the things we've learned on this new generation bike is the engine is incredible stock. And all we've done is got an ECU from Jamie at Twisted and got that mapped, and it's just incredible. So that's what we have set up on both bikes. That's the extent of the real engine mods. And then after that, we have the Recluse torque drive clutch, FMF pipe and silencer. There's a little bit of differences. Mine has the header on it from FMF. Donnie's got the stock one. Other than that, we're running the stock gearing is really good on these bikes. We've got the stock gearing with the Pro X chain and sprocket, and on these bikes, the big thing is suspension. So we both aren't a huge fan of air forks, although we think they can be made to work okay if you have a tech with you every time you go riding. We prefer spring forks. And so on Donnie's, we have the single spring Race Tech conversion, and then mine has the 6500 kit WP from Race Tech as well. So we have two different suspension settings, both single spring. One's a single spring, about half the price to do these forks as it is these. So that gives you a little reference. So both incredible bikes. And so what we're going to do today is be ripping these things around Glen Helen. We've brought in Luke, since Donnie and I both, you can't see two short old guys, chubby guys riding at the same time. We brought in Luke to be riding on one of the bikes, and we can have a stylish rider. Luke Santos is with Factory MX Vacations, and he does a great job of that, as well as other little projects he's got going. So, and he looks a lot better on the bike than Donnie and I. So we're gonna have him riding, get some good photos. We'll give you some feedback after we do a little bit of riding. But these bikes are really cool. So on my bike, we have the Bulletproof Designs throttle housing. It's aluminum throttle housing that works with the new generation bike as well as the older generation bike. The new generation bike, they did change the throttle cams, so you have to be careful on that. Make sure that you're compatible so you don't have any throttle issues. Also, I have the start-stop switch on each side of the bike, kind of like the older bikes we're used to. The new start switch, I'm not a complete fan of. It's a little bit difficult to hit to the buttons. I like these old school buttons a little bit better, and these are from Nihilio Designs. Really cool start-stop switch, and it plugs right into the stock setup. It's plug and play. There's nothing you got to do other than bolt them up and plug them in. So both these bikes have radiator bracing from ICW, and that's to give us additional strength if any type of crashing, anything like that. We also have the skid plates from Power Parts KTM. They fit up nice, bolt up really easy. We have scarf foot pegs on these, as well as our EMIC V2 lock-on grips from ODI. We have those with the ODI bars. We have two different versions of bars. We have their flight bin and then their CFT with the crossbars like what's on mine. I kind of go back and forth. I do prefer the open bar on the trail bikes for sure. I do kind of like seeing that bar pad on the motocross bikes. Works Connection makes a lot of cool bits. We have their chain blocks in the rear to convert the rear to like the Japanese style rear axle, as well as the Pro Launch hole shot device. Donnie's a little cooler, so he has custom Works Connection caps with his number on there as well. We also have custom Recluse covers on here with our logo on there, which is pretty cool to get. Okay, so on the black and red bike, a lot of guys are wondering how to go about this. The airbox pieces to change the airbox color from white to black is available through Power Parts KTM. Okay, so that's kind of cool that you can get those different colors and the airbox pieces. A lot of that stuff's low on stock or out of stock, so you have to, get lucky finding those. And I think that we went through AOMC on most of those pieces. Then the rest of the plastic pieces are all now available through MX Plastics, except for the front pieces are off of a 24 gas. So the front number plate, front fender, and fork guards are all off a 24 gas bike. So for the looks on both these bikes, they both look amazing. And so of course we use Decal Works on all of our graphics like this, and they really hit it out of the park, especially on the black and red one. You can see it just looks really cool and blends right into the Moto seat cover. And of course on the more boring orange one, it looks really good with if you like orange, you got orange, black, white. It just is a great look, and of course Moto Seat kills it every time with the seat cover. And now they have this new orange that matches way better than what they had before. So this orange is like a near perfect match. A 350 on the track has plenty of power for, I feel like, nearly everybody, and it's almost too much power for me. I still go back and forth with my 250, and I feel more comfortable at times on the 250 where I want to be able to be more wide open and not be as sketched out of grabbing too much power. But a 350 can just handle about any type of situation on any track. If there's a jump you can't do on a 350, or you don't feel comfortable and you want your 450 power, it's probably too big a jump for you. As you can see, Luke is right at home on this bike. He looks a lot better than a short, old, chubby guy, but he's got some pretty dang good style, always looking good. He's looking this good all the time, and his bikes look this good that he rents out. He rents out bikes for the two-stroke race, the vet race. He rents out bikes to foreigners coming from Europe or whatever for different races. They come into town, want to watch Supercross on a weekend, and then they can ride during the week. They come to SoCal, and that's what he's able to do with these guys. This thing loves the big old hills here at Glen Helen. You got big hills. You got some nice flowy tabletops. The track right now is right after the vet race, and it's pretty nice. We got a little cloud and kind of drizzle that wasn't on the weather forecast, but it's going to make for great track conditions, as you can see today. And the dirt's just amazing out here. It's really fun to be ripping around the track on these things. Second and third gear. I think a good rider could probably stay in third gear on most of the whole track on this bike. On either bike, they can stay in third gear. These bikes like to be revved out. That's one nice thing about the KTM bikes, is they are totally comfortable, waiting to shift. I think I like the feel of a steel frame bike, especially in the turns and choppy stuff. I seem to like it. There has been some comments of the chassis by pro riders in some cases on this new generation bike. I don't notice them. I think this new bike feels as good or better than the old bike for me as far as that stuff goes. Suspension feels, I think, really good on both bikes. It's kind of hard to totally tell. Fully, I'm going to get a little more feedback from Luke and see what he thinks. My bike has the MX-14 sand tire, and Donnie's got the more intermediate MX-33 style tire on his bike. And the 14 is just awesome as far as ripping up hills especially, and getting you out of a turn, especially for slower guys like myself that are more of a vet rider, who are more of a stop and turn, not carrying a ton of corner speed. That MX-14 can really help rip you up. Okay, so I've said this before, but these bikes are the Goldilocks of bikes. They're just right. People go, how can they be just right if you have to throw forks at them and get an ECU done and all that? But they're just right that they are the best option we have right now. I think a 350 is best size for most guys. Now, I ride a 250 here at Glen Helen a lot, but on a lot of these hills and coming out of some of these deeper sandy turns, when I catch up to a guy on a 450 that's similar skill set as myself or slower, I have a hard time passing him. With that 350, either of these 350s, the deficit is much less. I can just go by that guy a lot easier, and I don't have to suffer a little bit, and it makes those uphills just even more fun. So, and that's what's really nice about Glen Helen. It's built really well. It's a natural terrain track with not a lot of silly doubles in it in the middle of nowhere for no good reason. It's a really flowing, nice track, and that's why I like it. They do a really good job on the prep. Even in the summertime when it's really hot, they get out there the night before and early, and they have it prepped well, which is really nice. A lot of sand in the track. The only downside is in the fall and spring you can get some big winds, and that's the only downside of Glen Helen that I don't like. But most of the time it's pretty incredible. 80-90% of the time it's pretty awesome, and there's nothing you can really do to control the wind, of course. So these bikes on this track are just the best, and I think a 350 for most guys, the only guys that think they're going to be at a disappointed with a 350 are guys that are seriously racing against 450s. They're just going to be giving up maybe a little bit on the start, and they're going to feel like they need that start to be competitive. Now, if they're in a little bit better shape and can go stronger at the end of the moto, they're going to be fine on the 350. But if those are the only guys I feel like are going to be disappointed with a 350 like this. Anybody else who's just having fun and enjoying themselves and racing occasionally and not concerned about getting the whole shot against 450s, which I think these things will get plenty of hole shots if you have good technique and do a good job, you're going to be just fine on starts against most 450s, especially on shorter starts. Even at Glen Helen here with this long start, I see guys get good starts with 350s. So it's all about technique and so forth. So these bikes just rip. As you can see, Luke is just loving this thing, and he's building himself one of these things right now. Similar, this new same generation bike with good forks, ECU. He's doing the exact same things that we are, and you can see how much fun this thing is on the track. Okay, so when KTM started with these bikes, they initially had Crowley racing a 350 against 450s. That was our original vision, but just didn't work out. The bike wasn't advanced enough back in 2010, 11, whenever that was, and it just wasn't really there. Okay, you can see even I am having a good time on this bike. I really like the look of my black red one here and white. It's pretty cool. My 350 XCF looks a lot similar to this bike, and it's pretty cool. This thing just is a really blast up the hills and so forth. You can just see how well it rips. Also, both of Donnie's bikes match in a uglier way. They're both orange. Goldilocks it is. These things are just right. Now, again, we have to do a bunch of stuff to make them just right, but this is all we got for 350, and they're so awesome. And just like our XCFs, we love these things. We actually came out for a second day, and we actually got Donnie from away from behind the camera to go do a few laps as well. We got him on his KTM out there as well, and these bikes are amazing. Now, as far as the forks go, that's something a lot of people ask us about, different options of forks. I can tell you right now, Luke noticed a bigger difference with the 6500. He felt like it was a lot better, where I feel like it was a very small difference better than the Racetech single spring kit. I think that single spring kit for the money is dang good. So I don't think you're going to go wrong either way. If you want to go full in, go full in. If you spin less and get them set up well with a single spring Racetech kit, totally good. I think it's going to be good for 90% of the people out there. It's plenty good. If it was my money, that's what I would be doing. Right there's that single spring conversion. The ECU makes a big difference on these bikes. We also did something really fun and strange. Is on my bike here, we had the FMF 350 header, which is about 4 inches longer, wrapping around, maybe 5, I don't know, than a 250 header. So we've heard that people are running this 250 header, and we put it on, and sure enough, I don't notice any negatives, and it might just have a more response down on the bottom. It seems strange that it didn't make a bigger difference because it's such a different length, overall length and pipe. So I think if you were to buy one, I'd probably buy a 250 header. It's way shorter, way less likely to get smashed or hit, especially off-road guys. So I think it's better and a better response. And so that's kind of the inside secret guys have been doing with the 250 header on these bikes and the regular 350, muffler setup, which is actually the same as a 250. So really putting a 250 system on there. So really cool bikes. These things are amazing. I think the looks of this one are at least 33% better than Donnie's orange bike. But that's just my personal taste. I like this red custom look. Thing came out amazing. You'll see this one in Dirt Bike Magazine, and we're going to be riding these things a bunch over the next couple years. I don't see Donnie and I switching off of these bikes for the new generation bikes anytime soon. Really fun bike. Good times out here at Glen Helen riding these things. Luke, we want to thank Luke. He did a great job riding for us. He looks a lot better than us. If he knew how to video, then we'd have 2 old, slower, chubby guys riding, and then Luke would just film us. But since he looks better, we got way more footage of him being able to whip and ride well. And again, like I said earlier, he's going to build his own 350 here soon because he likes it so much. And he's a guy that's really fast, doing all the gnarly stuff out here. He's doing a triple that I didn't even know is really a triple. He thinks he can ride 450s. He has some that he rents, and he doesn't prefer to ride a 450. He'd rather ride a 250, or now he's going to be going 350 most of the time. So when even a guy that has the choice of riding whatever he wants usually will shy away from a 450, and I think a 450 is too much for most people out there, especially vet riders. So okay, so hopefully you've enjoyed all that. We do have a new podcast coming, and it's out now, and you can go to all your podcast platforms to find it. Dirt Bike TV, That Moto Show. We're going to be answering tech questions for you. And then also, if you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe. We'll check you out. We'll see you on the tracker trail soon.